So this is a little bit of a reiteration of yesterday, but let's go ahead and talk about it again. The IMM, the Intersite Managed Mode, all it is a firmware mode. It lives on the Fabric interconnects, and it comes to you with UCS 4.12. It is a policy model framework for managing our devices. So our B, C, and X series, and yes, HyperFlex stuff on the side. Fabric interconnect configuration is done through the domain profiles. So I want to take a side step here and note that this is usually where we would bring up the Fabric interconnects, and then you would go to the Fabric interconnect A, do your unified ports, then reboot, then go to Fabric B, do your unified ports, then go to the LAN and SAN tab, create all your pools and all of your pools and your policies that you're going to use in your service profile. Then you're going to create your VLANs and your vSANs. You also got to go over there and do your okay. All right, so we all know there's a bunch of different steps that we used to take once those Fabric interconnects were up and online. This domain profile puts everything in like a service profile-esque wizard. It's really nice because now instead of you bouncing around this dashboard everywhere, you just create one domain profile and apply it to the Fabric interconnects. Done. Boom. It's much faster and it's much less error prone because once you create that domain profile, guess what? You can use that again, right? So you can replicate this domain profile to multiple domains. So the domain profile and policies that I'm going to show you are pretty much the first step and the most crucial step of getting the Fabric interconnects online. The server profile, that's what we used to call service profile. Now we're going to be calling them server profiles. This is what's going to deploy the policies and the identities to the actual computes. And then we also have the management plane is going to migrate, right? What we're doing is we're migrating management of the UCS domain from the Fabric interconnects, which could be, it has issues with updates and all of that stuff. It's, it's kind of a pain. So we'll move the management from the Fabric interconnects to the Intersite dashboard, intersite.com, to your SaaS. Okay. Now, next, what we're going to do is these are your punch list. Or this is your punch list, right, of what to do from start to finish. The first thing is make sure that you're in hardware and software compliancy, right? So all the hardware is going to be the X series, right? If this is a brand new installation, everything's going to be X series. And then the software, we got to make sure we're 4.1.2 on the Fabric interconnects. The initial setup. When you run through the initial setup on the Fabric interconnects, guess what? You're going to get that option. Do you want UCS managed mode or do you want Intersite managed mode? We're going to select Intersite managed mode. Once you select Intersite managed mode, now you can go claim a domain. Now, claiming the domain basically means that you have two Fabric interconnects. Excuse me. So you have two Fabric interconnects and you're going to connect to those with HTTPS. And actually, just as a quick, just to show you here, right here, I am connected. So what I've done, and I'm going to show you all of this later, in sequence, but this is actually my two Fabric interconnects after I've installed 4.1.2 and after I've run the initial setup script, giving this guy a 131 address and a 132 address. That means that they're up on the network. I can connect to them through HTTPS. And with 4.1, you'll notice previous to this, you would get your UCS manager login, right? Not anymore. With the 4.1.2 and the 6400 series, when you connect to, I connected to 131, you're going to get this device console. It's going to give you some system information, but what's very important is this, the device connector. Over here, you'll notice that we have a device ID, and then down here, you would see a claim ID. I've already done that. I'm not going to unclaim it because I don't want to spend all that time, claiming, unclaiming, and then claiming it again, during a demo. So we're just going to keep it claimed. But here is where you would actually find the information that we use here to claim the domain. Okay, so you're claiming those fabric interconnects. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a domain policy. This domain policy and domain profile, what it's doing is it's actually configuring server ports, network ports, storage ports. That's the main thing. That's when you're going to start seeing your chassis pop up online, right? But you have to deploy the domain profile first. We are going to create the policies like NTP and quality of service policies, which are required. They're mandatory. Then we're going to run through and create our VLANs, vSANs, and some other things that the fabric interconnects need to be able to get online with network and storage and be able to talk to the compute, to the X series chassis. Then this stuff here, the next thing is we're going to start, okay, the fabric interconnects are up. I can see the chassis. Now, just like before, it's time to start taking a look at the servers. So we're going to start creating server policies, excuse me. You're going to create server policies, things like, for instance, adapter policies. That's stuff we used to do, right? These are the things that we used to do, right? And then what we'll do is we'll create the server profile. This right here, it looks and feels very similar to what you used to do, right? We're creating VNex, VHBAs, rock and roll, right? We're selecting MAC pools, we're assigning MAC pools, all the same stuff that we used to do. Worldwide no name and worldwide port name pools. Awesome, cool. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and deploy that server profile to an existing server. And yes, you can apply later, or assign later, just like we used to in the olden days. At that point, hey, that server's got an identity, it's got all the policies, it's going to reboot and do its thing. And now it is time to jump into the KVM console and install an operating system. Hey, at that point, we're now in operations phase, monitoring and troubleshooting. So step number 10, we're going to drill down. We're going to take a look at the servers with a server profile. Now, I'm not going to be assigning a server profile. The majority of what this class is about is getting the domain claimed, but I am going to show you where everything's at and what it looks like. So moving forward, more information on the IMM. It is the only way to manage that X series. UCS Manager and UCS Central will not support the X series. So if you plug in, let's say that you have, 3.2 UCS managed domain with the 6400s, and you plug this into that UCS managed domain, it's not going to see it. It's going to have no idea what it is. Can be used to manage and customize your cloud infrastructure services. Okay. IMM support is available in Intersight in 3 different flavors, as we mentioned, the Intersight SaaS deployment, or the 2 on-prem virtual appliances, the connected virtual and the private virtual. And with the connected and private virtual, you're not going to see your IMM policy elements like profiles, policies, and pools in the UI after you claim the Fabric interconnect. You're going to be doing all of that through your CVA PVA. You're not going to see that in the SaaS dashboard.